Hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. As ugly as it is, and it is ugly, now everybody sees what the Democrats have been up to with the illegal immigration issue. Because now that Trump's been deporting people and you see these radical judges trying to take away his Article 2 powers and think they have some right to do so, now you're seeing the level of radicalism that has always existed in the background of left-wing politics. And what they wanted to do with illegal immigration, which is essentially use it as a military weapon to overthrow our country with hostile agents within our borders, undermine our society from the inside out. It's like releasing a bunch of termites and trying to eat somebody's nice house by dropping a bunch of termites into their foundation so they can rot it from underneath and destroy it slowly. That left-wing politics has been out to destroy the capitalism of America by encouraging open borders for socialists, communists, Marxists from Cuba, Mexico, Canada. You remember, Canada is a socialist country. They voted for a socialist in Trudeau. Even more so, Mexico is a very socialist, Marxist-oriented government, has been for a number of years. All the Central American countries, most of them are or have been radical over the years, communists and socialists. That's why there was always conflicts during the 80s with who was going to run, like El Salvador. If you get a bunch of Marxists at your borders, it's hard on you, and it's not about tampering with their countries and their politics, but it's about stopping the left-wing incursions that were so prominent in the last century up to now, and making all those countries socialist and Marxist. Cuba, openly communist, right on our border, right off the coast of Florida. So when you hear these open border advocates yakking about why we need to be openly inclusive and open our doors to all those unwashed masses, what they really want is to take the poisonous ideas of communism, socialism, and Marxism, socialist, communism, and bring it into our country and start polluting it within our neighborhoods. And you see it everywhere. You see the evidence all over the place, especially in poor neighborhoods. You'll see the influences of these Marxist movements that are trying to rot our communities from inside out and then create class warfare to create destabilization and then have an overthrow of our country. That's what they've been up to. That is the battle plan. The more you bring in, the more that you can overthrow our society. And they thought that in 2024 there was not enough. They thought really since 2016, 2018, that the numbers are already in their favor to the point where they didn't have to worry about it anymore, that America was done. George Soros even said so himself. And his little boy Alex is committed to the cause just as much as his dad was. What's changed now is that Americans saw for themselves exactly what's been happening and have taken action. And that started with voting for people like Trump. It continues by voting for members of the House and Senate that are leaning Republican. And the immigration policy has been the essential, the stabilizing factor that has encouraged even people who are borderline Democrats, Republicans, to go put an R next to their name and start getting and caucusing with Republicans on the immigration issue. So the desperation in that plan erupting in front of their faces has changed the way the Democrats show themselves in public, and they are now very stirred up over Trump's immigration policies because he's deporting these people, and they're trying to make victims out of the deportees because that's the playbook they think is going to work or has worked for them in the past, and they have really nothing else to warrant their commitment to that cause, but to scream unfairness. And in the case of ridiculousness that it is, the fairness as interpreted by them are people who are gang members and who are violent criminals, and they're lobbying on their behalf to get it back into the country, when those are exactly the kind of people we don't want in our country. And those are the essential ingredients of the Democrat platform as it currently exists. And so a lot of us has said all along that this is a problem. This is what you're dealing with when you deal with Democrats talking about immigration. And it wasn't about wage levels. It was about poison. It's about sending just like you want to kill a bunch of ants at their colony, or rats with rat poison. Pick the rat poison up, take it back to the nest, and kill everybody at the nest. That's what illegal immigration was all about importing Marxism, communism, socialism into the American system, using the open arms of the Statue of Liberty to do it, using immigration as the tool to usher in political ideas that were meant to undermine our entire society. And it was purposeful, and it was a war effort, and not just disingenuous, but treasonous. All who advocated on that behalf, and even to water down what the word treason means, because nationalism wasn't supposed to mean anything to anybody anymore, because it wasn't about the nation. It was about being a sovereign citizen of the nation, being a person of the world, a membership of in a global community. That's how they've been steering the whole mess, and I expected that was going to be the future of politics. And when people voted for Trump, and he did so overwhelmingly, and he won comfortably in the last election, despite everything they threw at him, the purpose behind it was, we want to have value for our country, and we want to deport people who are hostile. We don't want gangbangers to ruin our cities and our communities. I can tell you a story in my local community. I didn't know it, but I found out that one of the Richard's pizza places in Hamilton recently closed, and right next to it was a Frisch's that closed. And there's a bunch of Frisch's restaurants that are closing all over the Cincinnati area, and Frisch's goes way back to the car hop days. And if you really peel back the layers of why these places are closing, and especially that location of Richard's Pizza, really good pizza, really good steak hoagies, known around the world, why they are closing that particular location that's been there for a long time, it's because the community around it has deteriorated to the point of ridiculousness, and they can't support a business anymore. So they had to move to places where, you know, they could support a business. They didn't have to worry about the level of crime that has moved into that part of Hamilton. And what's behind the crime in Hamilton? Drugs. And what's behind drugs? Illegal immigration and poisonous drug cartel activity that comes into these poor communities, ushered on the backs of that illegal immigration. So it destroys in a lot of ways everywhere it touches, and that's purposeful. Purposeful military attack by progressive Democrats to undermine our entire society. And Trump is changing that by taking those elements that are bringing that poison into the communities, like I said in Hamilton, where the Richard's pizza place has just closed their doors after they had been there for over 50 years. All these Frisch's restaurants are closing because people don't feel safe to go and have a coffee and sit at the bar at one of these Frisch's restaurants, have breakfast, and talk to other community members like they used to, because they're afraid to walk from their car into the restaurant. All the places where you've had heavy doses of crime activity, drug activity, ushered in on the backs of illegal immigration, a lot of those businesses have closed. And it's still happening, even with Trump in office, because the poison was already in place. And the only way to fix it, the only way to correct it, is to go back and deport those people, the criminal element that has been hiding in the background of the friendly, smiling faces they try to say is part of the illegal immigration movement. Mixed in with them is the poison. That's how they get it through the door and get it into your community and start rotting everything from the inside out. And if you want to fix it, you got to change those policies. You got to deport those people. And now that we're identifying who they are and the gang members that are affiliated with it, you got all these liberal lawyers and judges and people who are part of building that system maliciously, and they're showing who they are. They're the ones who should be tried for treason because of their purposeful intent to erode the content of our country. Very unpatriotic, very anti-red, white, and blue. And you have to make a value assessment based on that, based on what they've done. And now that they're yakking about trying to protect the people, the criminal element that they have brought here, they're in a panic. And so we're seeing just how deep this thing ran, which shouldn't be a surprise, but I think to a lot it is. And the kind of people that are associated with that movement, especially the bar association people, the people who have been making a lot of money off keeping people divided against each other, which are what a lot of lawyers do. Those types of people have profited a lot off the demise of the United States, and they're the ones who are most at panic over the illegal immigration issue, and that's why they want to challenge Trump and keep him from doing it on a mass scale. But if you want to save your country, you got to get those bad elements out of it, and they shouldn't be here at all if they're not documented, if they're illegal, if they're bringing in poison, which in the form of drugs, to rot away the infrastructure of all of our communities. It's happening everywhere. I'm sure, I guarantee you, everyone watching this knows of some. They can probably rattle off 5 places they can think of right off the top of their head where they know that the communities have been ruined by illegal immigration attached to the drug industry, and then bringing poison in to destroy your country from the inside out. You see it everywhere, and the Richard's Pizza. The Richard's Pizza closing is an obvious one because there's other Richard's Pizzas in the Cincinnati area that are thriving, but they're in neighborhoods where people don't try to kill each other over a bag of weed or cocaine or worse. If you could say something worse, all drug use is horrendous, and it just rots the brain and destroys intellect from the structure of society. You can't build a structure of society with everybody on drugs and wanting to be on drugs to escape from the pressures of reality, which are made worse by divisive politics created by a lot of these issues that are being championed by the open border movement. That conflict has caused so much trouble and made it so difficult for people to live a happy life that the purposeful intent is something that needs to be punished on a very excessive way in order to discourage more of it in the future. But yeah, it's interesting to see who is upset about Trump deporting gang members, because that's the only argument they have is we should give rights to gang members because they're our military vehicle for destroying society, and now Trump's taking that away and we're mad at him over it. Tells you all you need to know. It's pretty serious stuff, and it's good that people are seeing it, maybe for the first time. But now you got to have the courage to do something about it, which is where we are now. Pretty serious, bad stuff. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. And we have a good day. See you later.